Arthur here, and this is Watch and Learn. We watch films and
teach English. Brew a cuppa. We're about to start. Hello, Watch and Learners.
Hi, everyone.
So Arthur here, Xenia here, and today we've come with something very, very unexpected. Even for me.
Oh, yes.
Even for me. Even for
Even
me.
for you.
Especially for me, I think.
Okay, tell us.
So we will definitely start with you. I have a lot of questions. So
Okay.
we've come with our officially first superhero movie, which I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm super excited for this because I'm a big fan. I'm not sure if I ever mentioned that on any of our previous podcasts or.
I don't think you have. Just let us know. Let listeners know.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of superhero topic in general, comic book fan, superhero movies fan. I'm ready to digest anything that has super in it, in the title or in the idea. And it's not a childhood thing. I think I'm that kind of a rare bird that actually I got interested into superheroics. It started with the movies, of course, with Nolan's trilogy about Batman. And when it started, I was not even a Batman fan, to be honest. And it grew on me when I was already a student, a first-year student, I think, because in the dormitory in campus, the guys who I was sharing the apartment, kind of, I mean, in the campus, the dorm, they were reading comic books like a lot. And I just didn't know that you could do this in Russia somehow. I did not know that you could buy comic books, some of them translated into Russian. I didn't know that there are ways to get comic books, if you catch my meaning, and read them in a very interesting way. And sort of like, I mean, there's the special program that I think most of the people use to read comic books on their laptops or tablets, maybe even. And I got into this. For those who know, I'm not sure there are a lot of you at the moment, but for those who know, my first ever comic book that I read from top to toe was Lobo, which is a DC universe. He's not a superhero. He's like an anti-hero kind of a character. And after this, I think I maybe started watching a lot of, more superhero movies, got into different other like comic books. And just a little bit later on, I became a Batman fan when I started reading actually Batman comic books. And I'm that kind of guy who every time he hears someone says that like comic book superheroes, comic, it's for kids, and I laugh, at their faces because it's not that. And I think if any one of you has this certain question why it's so popular and why it's not dying, because of course in cinema there is always a certain trend, there, like Westerns used to be a thing in cinema, but that kind of died. Then it was action movies in the 90s. We got a lot of like Die Hard, and we got a lot of action actors from that era. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Chuck Norris, and all this kind of cool guys.
They just don't make them this way anymore. I mean,
and these genres, they stayed with us, Westerns and action movies, of course, but either they changed, or if we talk about some traditional shapes of such movies, they just don't happen very often. But it's for a lot of people, out of the cinema and in this, I mean, in the industry, they sometimes like they're surprised that superheroes it started pretty much right. It was 2000. The year 2000 when it all started with X-Men, and then a little bit later, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy, and then there was more and even more and even more and even more, and then it was the year 2010, and the whole world first saw Iron Man, and this big, huge, I would say enormous world of Marvel movies started. Warner Brothers, who's got rights for DC characters, they're like trying. There is a big hope that something very good gonna happen this year with James Gunn's Superman in July. They kind of started already at the end of last year. They released an animation show, which is also a part of this new DC universe, where we got like Superman and Batman, Flash, and And in a month or so, we're gonna be witnessing a new Superman version and the whole universe. And what I wanted to say, I'm talking too much, but I think you can understand me why. I think it's so popular because this kind of stories, they hit into something very basic of our love for stories, because pretty much superhero movies, they are the new mythology. Like as much as people used to like telling legends and mythos about Hercules and gods and whatnot, right? About different heroes also in their own cultures. And later we got fairy tales, right? Which are also very universal, right? We got like the same version of a certain story, but in different shapes with a little bit different details in every culture. And superheroes is that, but like from now. So this is why it's so popular. This is why the fandom of that part of the cinematography is so big. And this is why it's not going to die anytime soon. And I'm pretty sure that it's never going to die. It's just, they're going to be sort of it's like a pendulum. At some point, Tarantino used this kind of a metaphor for cinematic trends, that for anything there's like a pendulum. There's a little bit more of that at the moment. There's a little bit of less. There is more, and then again less. And it's never going to die. It's always going to be there. And another reason for this is because the source material is just
infinite. Yeah,
you're never gonna use it up. It's just infinite. The comic books are still written, still published in an enormous amount every day. And yeah. So, questions. First of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is kind of for the last certain amount of time, this is the first superhero movie for you, right?
Some time ago, I watched Batman with Pattinson. Well, okay, I have to, spoiler alert. I'm not into superhero movies at all. Why? Or comic books, comics, all this stuff. It's interesting because, for example, that the French are really good at making these comics, right? They have this bande dessinée. It's like a separate thing in their culture. And I used to read some stuff with my students for fun. Some of my students really liked these comics. For me, the problem is that I find it inconvenient to read them. For me, having these pictures and text on them, sometimes the order is not really clear what's first, what's next. And this is, for me, it's frustrating. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's my, it's like an ailment that you can't read comics. So, but anyway, I also watched some amazing movies. I don't know. Is Joker like a part of this? I think yes,
No.
right?
I mean,
Because we have
Joker, a part of like the comic book in general. Yeah.
idea
Yeah.
because we have this amazing Heath Ledger's Joker and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. It's already not like part of superhero. It's more like a anti-hero. But
I mean, yeah, sure, yeah. His Batman's like arch nemesis. Yeah.
but those are amazing works of art. Just and you can't argue with that. This is something that you have to see once in your life. And how they prepared for these. There are memes that I like that Joaquin Phoenix prepared for movies by whatever, then put something that you do to your job every day, you know. Okay, anyway, then Batman with Pattinson and some of the previous Batmans. Yeah, I love them. Again, some works of art, and you can't argue. Just they are amazing. But then for me, what is the thing I maybe don't like, not a fan of, something that why I don't go to these movies, why I'm not watching them. I feel that they are more like entertaining, and I'm fine with that. Of course, you need entertainment at some point. You have something you do for work, for, I don't know, developing your, your personality, and then you have some entertainment. That's fine. But for me, a lot of those movies just were only about entertainment. And I was like, this is the kind of entertainment that I just didn't like. And it's, for me, it's a kind of a guilty pleasure that people can have. Like, you do this, I have, I don't know, Harry Potter, whatever, Lord of the Rings, you name, just hear your favorite stuff that you watch, read just for fun, for pleasure, yeah. But it's a super nice idea about having these archetypical stories in this particular genre, or like, what is it, like area of art. It's true that people have their way of telling stories, and this is one of their ways, and people need that. Yeah, so they tell their stories by showing, and it's always, there's this morale, there's this here is what you do to become a bad guy, here's a superpower that you can have and you can dream of it, yeah, stuff like that. So I mean, that's cool, and I think it's super cool that it's not gonna die, that it's gonna continue, and it's gonna change according to what's relevant nowadays. This is what I loved about the movie. I'll talk about it later, but you have some very hot ideas there, something that you're looking and you're like, wow, oh yes, this is something that like we're talking about right now, this year, for example, don't know. So that's why it's cool. And yeah, I mean, I watched the Batman much later, yeah, than it was released, and it was, I think, the previous one. And I watched, yeah, something else. But it's not like I follow the dates of release and stuff. And with this one, we actually went to the cinema to see it, and my husband was like, "Hey, there's a superhero movie on and I'm gonna go." I was like, "You're gonna go alone? Shall I just join you?" And he was like, "Sure, I'm happy if you do." And we did this classic thing, like we bought some fast food and, you know, some junk food, and went to some just big cinema yeah, and watched it, and it was fun. I mean, I really enjoyed, apart from some deep ideas I saw there, I just enjoyed the thing. Yeah.
The ideas there actually, okay, so maybe a little bit elaborate that.
Mm-hmm.
Like superhero movies which we watched maybe prior the year 2000, they were like 100% entertainment. There was not much to dig out. Tim Burton's Batman's, Schumacher's Batman, God forbid, and a lot of, yeah, like it was that. But actually that was Tim Burton that kind of like, he did this and something clicked in people's minds that superhero movies can be not just about stuff for kids. Because that was the first kind of like dark story, kind of this gothic Batman story with this, creepy Danny DeVito's Penguin character, and this kind of
I
stuff.
remember.
And that moved something in the understanding of superhero movies. And then we got X-Men. I forgot the name of the director. Singer. I'm sorry, forgot it. He was responsible for X-Men franchise for a long time. And it was already like, yeah, maybe it was still fun and games, but they first put a certain social agenda there, which was pretty much taken from the comic books. It was not something that like they created specifically for the movie, right? And they kept doing this. They started safe in terms of that X-Men took this deep idea from the comic books, then about like how there is a certain minority in the world and they have to defend themselves from the majority, right? You can talk about racism here, you can talk about sexism here, and anything pretty much, this kind of a racial thing, right? In any way, like us against them kind of a story. Then we got Spider-Man, who first in cinema, I think, not just in comic books, in kind of comic books too, but much earlier, of course, but who was the first character who was who had a lot of flaws. Like, he was not this perfect like Superman character who can like save the day every day and not even complain. It was the first story both in comic books and in cinema, I mean in cinematic superhero projects, when the character had to deal with this double life kind of a thing. Like, he got problems not just as a superhero saving people, but he also had problems as a person, as Peter Parker. He had problems with his girlfriend, with his peers, with his family, and he had to deal with like, what am I gonna be when I grow up, because he was still a kid when it happened, when he got powers and everything. So interesting to follow, really. And then we came back to this kind of a realistic dark Batman with Nolan's projects. And it was pretty deep. I mean, I think I don't have to explain that to you. And this became the kind of the first steps to making superhero not just entertainment, but first of all, as much realistic and scientific as possible. Even in Thor, who's like from this magical world of Asgard and gods and everything, they sneaked this like cue in his first movie that what you call here magic, we call science. So like, even so, and they started planting this sort of messages there. Sometimes they're pretty simple, right? Like simple choices, like, am I going to strive for power, or am I going to love my family? Yeah, I'm talking about Loki's character in Thor, for example. Or am I going to still be this narcissist, kind of a self-loving person? I'm talking about Tony Stark. Oh, I'm going to sacrifice myself so that the world can live, which happens at the end of his arc, like in all of these Marvel movies. So there's still, yes, they're simple, but there's still this certain messages. And also what Marvel did is that, I think it's okay that we're talking generally for so long because I'm not sure that we're gonna discuss Thunderbolts for a long time. But still, what they did is that they understood that like if every Marvel movie is gonna be one and the same kind of typical superhero movie, that's gonna get kind of people bored very quickly. So what they did is that starting with Iron Man in 2008 and kind of Incredible Hulk in 2008 too, they realized that every movie should be different, and the easiest way to make them different is to create the stories within different genres, so that we've got typical kind of sci-fi drama, and we've got like a espionage comedy with Ant-Man, and we've got political thriller with Captain America, and a war movie with the first one, and this political thriller, also spies, kind of a political intrigues kind of on with the second part. We've got this what is it called? Space opera with James Gunn's The Guardians of the Galaxy. We've got this kind of more magical world with Thor movies. So there is a lot of different things for people to look for if they like something certain. And at the same time, with time, it's getting more and more difficult to just start from any point, of course. But you didn't have to like watch like everything. But at some point, of course, they started doing this kind of, connecting the stories together with the Avengers movies and some, pretty much Avengers only. Or you could watch a Thor movie and there's Hulk also, or this kind of stuff. So right now, maybe just to enter this thing, you have to watch pretty a lot. And now there are shows also which have a pretty big influence on the whole canvas of of whatever is going on right now. So this is what I wanted to ask you, like, was it like you haven't been following pretty much anything in this specific universe, right? Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I will later refer as just MCU. Was it like for you, like, did you have a feeling that you're missing on something? Or it was just okay to see as like an independent kind of a separate story?
Absolutely not. I didn't feel I was missing on anything. It's true that you do have these references to something, like someone's previous stories or experiences, or I don't know, whatever, but it doesn't affect your overall experience at all. You have absolutely no problem like watching this as the first superhero movie. And this is amazing, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the first one of the series, or is it continuing something? I don't even know. You tell me.
As the band, like as these specific characters working together, this is the first thing. But all of them came from different previous projects.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, did you have to like shoulder, your husband is like, what is this? What is that? No?
Absolutely not. Like, I did shoulder him for some funny jokes from me. But no, otherwise, no, absolutely not. And
and this is what I also, even as a person who knows everything, all the references and everything, I like that, what they did, that you can just start with that. Considering that Marvel has been through this not a very like good time for them, maybe 5-ish latest movies, before this one, were not very good and were not met by fans, very nicely. Starting, for those who understand, starting with the third part of Thor, Taika Waititi just was too much. Taika Waititi there, unfortunately. Nobody stopped him.
You can't stop him. If you know what I mean.
And they just turned this franchise into like a stupid comedy. Okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just dive into the movie because
Okay.
we can do this for forever. So yeah, Thunderbolts asterisks, super important. Thunderbolts asterisks. So yeah, what's your impression?
Great movie, great something to watch, to on the one hand entertain, yes, on the other hand, why not? There were some nice ideas to like that I personally liked. First of all, the cast. I think that was the thing that kind of attracted me, and the reason I actually decided to go is the cast. I love Florence Pugh. She's just, I like her in so many movies, and in her show that she did with tasting food or something. She's so cool, such a great actress. And what I like about her is she's got this kind of, for me, unconventional beauty. Like she's not this, well, I think people can argue if I say she's not perfect, yeah? But for me, yeah, it's the maybe some imperfections about her that I like the most. She's beautiful, she's a great actress, and yeah, I went to see her. What else? A couple more. Let me just remind myself of the name. I like Geraldine Wiswanathan. I saw her in a couple of series and in some other movies. The assistant of the, who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She's cool. She's super cool in this very stupid series with Harry Potter. What is it? Miracle Workers, something like that. Have you seen that show? It's such a dumb
heard
show.
about it. I heard about it, but never watched it.
If you,
Okay, of course, yeah.
Steve Buscemi and Daniel
yeah,
Radcliffe. Yeah,
of course, yeah. I never watched it, but yeah.
Look, if you do, the episodes are super short, like 20 minutes, and like only the first season is actually the best one. You don't have to watch the others because they are all different. They are different on different topics. So you can only watch the first one, and it will take one day to complete it. So I like them, and very surprisingly, the guy who appears in the beginning, Bob, and you're like, who's this? Like something, and you're like, he's gonna disappear in a couple minutes because he's absolutely uninteresting. He's not gonna be anything in this movie. But yeah, he has this very interesting story, and he's an amazing actor as well. So he impressed me.
Lewis Pullman, his name.
Right,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure I saw him anywhere else. I don't know about any.
There is a movie that I'm going to watch with him. Let me check. I don't remember the name of it because I still haven't. But it's like fresh. He was in Top Gun Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I didn't see it. Let me check. There was something like super Riff Raff. Yeah, it's called Riff Raff. With Bill Murray, with Pete Davidson. So it's like a kind of comedic kind of action movie that I really want to watch. Yeah, some shows I see here, like Salem's Lot, for example. But yeah, he surprised me too. I mean, I knew about him, and of course, since I'm following all the news, I knew what he's representing in that movie and everything. But it was still interesting to watch like his development as a character and as an actor. Yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, this character was supposed to be another actor. Don't remember his name. I know him. He's a good actor, but I think that they did well actually recasting and choosing Lewis for this role. He's amazing.
And don't know. The other thing that I loved about the movie is so his story. Yeah, that he is an addict and he gets into some experiment, trying to kind of gain new confidence, become a new person, whatever. And so they're making superhero out of him. I don't know, right? And I loved how they showed him turning people into these, like, at first I thought killing people, but he's actually like taking them to some dark side, yeah. And his general like dark side of his personality, and what they showed with his childhood, like his abusive and crazy childhood, these rooms where they start traveling in these rooms and seeing some horrible stories, yeah. Parents fighting, like his father abusing him. For me, it was like, wow, you're just sitting watching some superhero movie, just, I don't know, having fun, don't know, eating popcorn, and then you're suddenly in some dramatic like story that's moving and that's giving you a lot of food for thought, and you're like, wow, this is deep. I love it. So generally a very, very positive impression. And unfortunately, I left the hall before seeing the very last episode after the what do you call them?
Credits.
Yeah, there were two, right? Episodes after the credits. I only watched one and I thought that's the end. But now I found out that you have to stay because that's what they do. Yeah, these directors.
They do this all the time.
Yeah,
and
I didn't know.
Cool. How to say, the idea is pretty much usually the same from movie to movie, is that the first, it's like you got a scene or two from the cinematic credits, and then you got one after the just general credits. And usually, just like in this movie, is that the first one is just like, it's not super necessary to watch. It's just kind of a funny thing. The one that you witnessed, yeah, like a red guardian trying to, like sell some breakfast thing, yeah. And the second one is usually is a, sometimes it's pretty much a scene from some upcoming movie, just to connect the movies together, like a cliffhanger kind of thing. Sometimes it's something that you're gonna see only in this one, but it's still a connecting line, kind of a, with something that is going to be happening next. And in this movie, I mean, you can, I think, Google later and watch what was there, but because there's a lot going on. But the main idea of that, like, post credit scene is the connection with the next project that we're gonna see super soon in July, at the end of July. It's the connection with the new iteration of the Fantastic Four, with Pedro Pascal, with unfortunately with oh my god, let me try and remember, Jessica Kirby, I believe her name is Jessica. Vanessa Kirby, thank you. And
I like
and
her.
some other, like, not, pretty big thing there. And it's gonna be the third try to actually put this team. It's the original team in Marvel. That was the first ever superhero team in the Marvel comic book, the Fantastic Four. And I'm so hyped for this movie. Please, after we finish, please watch the trailer, find this post-credit scene. It's funny sometimes too.
Will do.
Yeah, but let's go back to the movie. So can I?
Sure. Yeah, no, this is what I wanted to say about it.
So I agree with everything that you said, first of all. Just not to repeat myself.
Good to know.
And sorry, not myself, just not to repeat the ideas.
Uh-huh.
What I would add is that it's cool that it was just enough for you to see this drama that you kind of, understood, but there's still more. Yeah. So even though we've got this group of people just, they got the situation, they have to work together, even though they do not want to. Typical, right? Like we both watched the movie in Russian. I'm not sure what kind of word they used in the original. We're definitely gonna rewatch the movie in English when it's available. But there's this thing when like, oh, let's just avoid this word. Like we're not a team, So, but there's also the drama behind Florence Pugh's character, Yelena. Who's like a new. I'm not sure if I can call her Black Widow in this story, but she's kind of a, she is. But let's just call her Yelena Belova as she is. There's drama also behind that because she's a stepsister, not a stepsister. How to say? They're not like connected at all as a family. I mean by blood, but they used to be this kind of a family together with what's his name, Anatoly Shestakov, like this Red Guardian character.
So he's not her father.
He's not her blood father. So if you watch Black Widow movie, which is called just Black Widow with Marvelous Johansson, you will learn that there used to be like a family of spies, of Soviet spies, who were working on the based in the USA, and the mother, the father, and these two girls, even when they were just girls, they were not connected to each other as like family. They were just spies. And at some point they had to leave, they had to escape the United States because when because he got exposed, can I say? Yeah. He was like, he stole some like super important information on something. I don't remember what was that. And their family got pretty much separated. Their mother, who's Rachel Weisz, by the way, in the movie, she just continued working for whatever the spy organization she was working for. The Red Guardian became their like agent doing his own thing. And the girls, they were given away to what is called in this universe as Red Room, which is a school for girls where they prepare the girls for being Black Widows, which are like spy assassins. And in this movie, we kind of see that this is the only thing that she can do. And that kind of grew in her, like not in a good way. She just kind of locate, kill, repeat, locate, kill, repeat kind of thing. And why she's doing this is because her sister, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, she used to do the same. She used to be just this kind of Black Widow, agent. But then she managed to escape, become a superhero, a person who's actually saving people instead of just being a part of this political games. And then she's got the very similar arc as Iron Man. She sacrificed herself for the sake of saving the world. And now the drama of Yelena is that there's multiple angles there. First of all, she's trying to she's looking up to her sister, what she did, and she wanted to do the same. But the situation at the world right now is that there is no formed superhero team. Avengers do not exist anymore. The new ones are not there. So she's not sure what she can do. So she just keeps doing these contracts given her by this woman, right? Valentina de Fontaine. And at the same time, she was alone. And I think this is what you could understand from the movie, that even though Shestakov is not her father, but that was the only father that she had, and he was not there, and the other stuff. So what I wanted to say is that the level of drama there is finally high, which was, I mean, and the Marvel, they maintained this level up until this climax in the movie Avengers Endgame, where Avengers just kind of defeated the guy who had been the main villain for like 10 plus years in this universe. And this is what I liked.
Yeah.
And another thing that that I would mention is this movie, even though it's a superhero movie, it's not about just kicking asses. It's so focused on another thing. I would let you start talking about this, that I was kind of surprised. And it works very interestingly in terms of that, from one point, it's interesting to see something like this in a superhero movie, right? And another angle is that the villain that we've got in the movie, he is invincible. And we've got this like team of people, half of them do not even have super powers here, like Yelena, for example. Shestakov is super strong. He's like a Soviet version of Captain America. The new Captain America, quotation marks, who's I think called Agent America right now, he's also got into a similar procedure as Steve Rogers. So he's like this, he was supposed to be the new Captain America, but I think it's mentioned in the movie that he failed to be one. Well, Ghost, this girl who could phase through objects and everything. But anyway, their powers are not even close, to match the Sentries. This is the name of the good side of the the Sentries. The bright side, not good side, but the bright side of the villain, the Sentry's powers. And then the Sentry became, it's called the Void in the original, the
Void,
dark part. And please, like, how did you like that, what they did? With like, what was actually the kind of how they defeated the villain?
I think that is what I liked most about it. Is the fact that you just don't have these superheroes, what you said, kicking asses. Because normally they all have these crazy superpowers, and you just look at a lot of ass kicking. Very, very strong, very hard. Maybe like also the reason why I liked Batman so much, that does he have superpowers?
He doesn't.
I feel that,
no, his only superpower is money. There is this moment in the
nice.
movie.
I'd like to
in
have
the movie
that.
Justice League
Okay.
when he meets Barry Allen, who's superhero Flash, who's like super. He's got very high, unrealistically high metabolism. He's super fast, and he doesn't know much about Bruce Wayne or the Batman. And in the car, Barry, talking to Bruce, he's like, "So, what's your superpower?" And he's like, "I'm rich," which you're like, that is superpower, So no, this is why I'm a big fan of this character, that he's not about just like, oh, I just, because of the accident or because I'm just I'm an alien living in a different world with different physics, I have the superpower. He's this example of a person who just, he struggled, he trained, he studied, and he became like a self-made superhero kind of a thing. Of course, there is a lot of supernatural stuff in comic books, even about Batman, but they're the most kind of down-to-earth kind of stories about people who just devote fully to fighting crime.
So speaking of Thunderbolts, I felt that they were kind of weak. They kind of didn't have superpowers. And when they contacted with this villain, We also see that they had these traumas of their past lives or something that they had and still have. And this was something we all relate to, you know. When you touch the void, you immediately just remember some worst moments of your life, and this kind of reminds me of the thing we have in Harry Potter series, the Dementors, which is basically kind of a magical thing, a magical creature for depression. So when we have absolutely no happy emotions, memories, or anything else in our lives, and we are left with all the bad memories that we had, and we are left with the memories of something bad that happened to us. So this is kind of the same vibe, and I liked it. That they all had these stories. They were all kind of not so strong. It was not about kicking asses. It was about maybe actually fighting this with some inner strength that you have, with something humane in you, trying to fight it, and like trying, even though you see that this power, this void is invincible, and basically trying sounds crazy, sounds like you're not gonna make it at all. But they do. And what exactly they did, like they tried to, I don't know, you tell me.
I think what happened is that they managed to address the better part of
right.
the guy, and they put, so if you remember, the initial reason for him to even participate in such an experiment was that he wanted to become something, so he didn't believe in himself much. He didn't think that he was anything. And I think what they did is that by Yelena talking to him mostly, right, just giving him confidence that, I don't remember exactly the dialogues or there, but just showing that you are not nothing, you're something, and you're stronger than your darkest side and your void, right? And this is what happened in this scene that you didn't see. We also learned that after, like, what happened, he never used his powers anymore, because like using his powers means like possibly releasing the void again. So I think we will keep witnessing, I mean, in next movies, like how his kind of dealing with his traumas to probably subdue or completely eliminate this void part, this dark part of his personality. So I think that's what happened. What maybe the only when I was writing about this movie in my blog just right after we watched it, I took 1 star off. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Why? Because I think they could have done a bit better job with this void space, not character, but this void kind of a dimension, and show the rooms of the rest of the team too. I mean, they kind of did just like glimpses of that when a couple of characters touched him before anything happened, right? When this Agent America touched him, and he remembered he was in this kind of situation with like fighting, fighting his wife and
ex-wife,
remembering that he's failed, and someone else I don't remember. Maybe it was Yelena. Yeah, Yelena, and we kind of first saw that Forrest.
Who's the girl who gets killed?
Her.
Someone
okay,
important?
so well, apparently not for this story. It was very strange. So we're talking about Olga Kurilenko's character. So she's from Black Widow movie. Her nicknames like superhero or name is Taskmaster. She was a daughter of the head of this red room that I've mentioned before. And at some point, the previous Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, had I don't know if it was a task that she was supposed. Yeah, it was the thing that she was supposed to do. It was like a test to join the good guys, let's say. I mean, the Shield, which is kind of it used to be a good guys organization, which superheroes were part of for some time. So she was supposed to do that, like to say that, yeah, I'm a good girl, kind of a thing. And she was supposed to kill that guy through exploding his like office or something, or maybe it was like I don't know, office. I don't remember. And it was not a part of the plan, but that girl was there. And she thought, I mean, she still did what she was supposed to do. And she thought that she had killed her. But later we learned that she didn't die, and the guy didn't die. And this guy turned that girl into this kind of a machine. She was deeply brainwashed, and her superpower, again, quotation marks, was that she was able to mimic anyone's fighting style, and she could just, she was like a mixture of a lot of different heroes. In terms of like how she fought, she was a little bit of Captain America. That's why she had a shield, and like a little bit of like Natasha Romanoff, like Black Widow, the previous Black Widow. I don't know why she killed her. Probably, maybe Olga was busy. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't come up with anything good for her. Or maybe it was just her arc. I mean, she did a lot of bad stuff, even though brainwashed, she did a lot of bad stuff. And I don't know. I'm not sure. I cannot explain that part, really.
Okay. Which reminds me of another question I have for you. I just thought about it. Something we laughed at a lot while watching, my husband and I. So we, by the way, I don't know if there's an English word for that in movies. I know that in Russian, some people call it cranberry.
Oh, okay.
You have, how do you, is there a word?
I don't know. Sure.
When you have like a lot of this stereotypical stuff about Russians, like vodka and bears, whatever, and we noticed that, with the Red Guardian, what's his? Yeah, that he's like drinking vodka out of the blue in the car, and then I don't know, throwing this bottle to fight with the guys that are pursuing them. Anyway, at this point, I was like, okay, again, Russians drinking vodka just in the morning. But then I thought, is it something they are using just on purpose? Because everybody knows that it's already like a stereotypical thing, and you can already use it as, I don't know, meta-irony, sarcasm, I'm not sure. On the other hand, I know that they did also do that in the new Mission Impossible, for example, and not as in meta-irony, but as like seriously. So at this point, I don't know, but maybe what thoughts do you have? Does that even bother you, or maybe you don't care about such stuff appearing in movies?
There is a lot of such stuff in comic book stories, really. I think it's this just simplification for different purposes, sometimes for dramatic purposes, sometimes to justify certain plot turns, twists.
That makes sense for comics, because you don't have a lot of text, you don't have a lot of images, you have to show that this guy is a Russian guy. So you give him vodka, right?
Which is usually like a bad guy.
Yeah. So, but in a movie,
I think it's just a joke.
That's what I thought.
I mean, Red Guardian's character, he's this kind of he was a soldier. He was like a soldier to the bone, working for KGB and doing like different stuff. So he's I mean, if you watch him in the Black Widow movie, it's even more concentrated. Now he's changed, you know, as a character a little bit. But there he was like, you know, being there in prison and wrestling, like arm wrestling different
Yeah.
people, full of this like tattoos, and which reminds you of the Soviet Union kind of you know thing. And so yeah, it's just his charisma and vodka. Some people realized something. So when you in this world, if you go through a super soldier serum procedure, we learned that from, I think, even the first Captain America movie. You cannot get drunk because your metabolism is like super quick.
Oh, you can try, but you won't.
You can try, but you won't. And yeah, the Flash character from the Batman world, there is the same. It has the same situation, and there is a show, a TV show about Flash, and there's even one, I think, episode when they kind of devote to someone. Someone creates such a beverage that can even take, you know, Barry Allen. Yeah, but that worked for like 5 seconds.
Okay.
So, and people were like, so he's got this super quick metabolism, which means that he cannot get drunk. So does he drink vodka for taste? Like, you know, really? I mean, that's horrible because, I mean, if it was whiskey or something with just a little bit of taste, that would have been understandable. But vodka?
Well, you do get a lot
But
of
it's just a joke.
a lot of movies with characters, you know, just slowly sipping vodka in a cocktail,
It's
or just,
impossible,
and you're
yeah.
like, why? Do you actually
How?
know how that's, you know, drunk? In a shot and very quickly before you can feel it? Yeah.
Because you drink it for the effect, not for the
Of
taste.
course, I mean, but
But
yeah,
again,
okay.
again, just a part of his,
Mhm.
you know, he's a comic
That's what I
relief
thought.
in
Yeah.
this story.
Yeah.
So it's just a part of his charisma.
Okay.
Of course, they don't take that super seriously. That this is what Russians are like. Of course not.
Yeah, but you do still get this a lot in other movies where they do
Yeah,
give it
definitely.
seriously. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. What else?
I mean, there's a lot of such stuff in Natasha Romanoff's character also, and there's a lot of things that, like, if you're super patriotic to the bone marrow, even maybe there are some things that she says that you can get offended even. Like somebody at some point, somebody said to Natasha, like, but like, you're Russian. It's like, I used to be. Not anymore. Which is, again, is just a part of the kind of, you know, character kind of built, you know,
I see.
set, whatever,
Okay.
of values and you know. So yeah, it's just for, at least in this story, just for fun, you know, just to remind everyone once again that he's Russian, you know.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't take it seriously.
There's another joke there, like in that post-credit scene. Check it out. I mean, you will understand.
Okay.
Which, you know, some people didn't like it, and again, you will understand why. So
Okay.
yeah, so maybe what I can say in conclusion is that this movie is a glimpse of hope that what we're gonna witness further in whatever is going on in the Marvel universe is gonna be good again. There are some other reasons to think this way, like returning RDJ into the universe, but in a different character. Like, he died as an Iron Man, but he's gonna portray a different character there, which, like, we have a lot of questions about this, but I mean, it's a comic book world. I mean, anything can happen there.
Right.
It's like nobody really dies there, as they say. So, and again, I highly recommend to you checking out the next the next project inside this world, which is Fantastic Four First Steps, it's called, with, again, at least because of the cast, at least because it's again, you don't have to know anything about them because it's like a redoing, like reintroducing these characters into a cinematic project, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It has very interesting atmosphere. You will understand that from the trailer. And everyone who's listening, like even if you are not into this, try. I mean, you can start pretty much with Thunderbolts, not really caring about whatever happened before, because we assume that, I mean, fans assume that whatever is going to be next, they will refresh certain things there, and you can just start from there, and it's okay. You don't have to watch like 30 movies that happened so far.
Mm-hmm. So what would be your superpower if you could have a superpower?
Can I be also rich? That's a nice superpower. Just 11 digits in your bank account. That would be nice.
But you'd have to be a superhero if you had that, right?
I mean, I just discussed that with one of my students, I think yesterday, in terms of like what would I do if I was like super rich, and I was like, I wouldn't care about, I don't know, business or investing or whatever. I would just help people. And superheroes, they're actually kind of this fantastic metaphor for all the real heroes, right? When 9/11 happened, in a lot of comic books, they devoted at least one issue to whatever happened. And some time ago, I was reading old Spider-Man comic books, and one of the issues kind of, they were released soon after 9/11. And that story, it was not even a story, that issue was devoted to all the police officers, to firefighters. And so I think, yes, maybe it can seem like these stories kind of draw your attention away from real heroes of our world, our real world, but I think otherwise, actually. It's like kind of make people think about not just the visual part of that, but he's like super strong, or like he's super smart, or but about the actions, like what people are ready to do for the others, like to sacrifice everything and to save the others, and remind them that we do have such people in real world, like, again, like firefighters, doctors, police officers, and a lot of other people. English teachers. So
in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, look, if a person has superpowers, does it mean they have to use them for the good? Is it like a rule for superheroes?
If you want to explore this question, just check out Spider-Man. This is the main kind of a thing. Like, with the great power comes great responsibility, is the key quotation from the Spider-Man world. I do think so. I mean, you can even apply that to yourself, whatever you can do, right?
Yeah.
I know English. Maybe that's too loud, but I like to think that it's also my superpower, because I was not like Batman, like training super hard to actually know it very well. It just happened. I don't know, genes, circumstances, good teachers, good, I don't know, whatever, good friends, it just happened. I didn't do much. You can hate me for that, but I mean, listeners, but yeah, I didn't do much to actually know English very well. So I feel kind of responsible for, like, I know this very well. I know how to explain how to know English very well. So I do this, right? It's very down to earth, of course, comparing to being an actual superhero, but similar. I mean, why not? I mean, again, superhero movies, they're mythologies, right? And ancient Greek mythos, they did the same. They told the stories of regular people through gods and heroes, and villains and whatever so well, and it worked so well that we still remember them, like thousands, like a couple of thousands, just thousands, pretty much years after. And
I totally agree. I mean, whatever your profession, your superpower, so to say, if you keep doing this, I just think that whatever money you get, probably for teaching, for doing your job, I don't think it's enough to match the superpowers you have. So it means that you're doing it not only for the money, but like for something more, for the greater like idea. And this is a superpower, doing it again and again every day, actually helping people, doing a lot of stuff for free, and just continuing to do this. I think these stories, they actually teach us that you can choose the side, right? You can always, not always, but you can try appealing to the person's like good side, to save them from the void, even if it seems like it's totally black and there's no way out of it. You can try, and so I have to say, I even had a couple of tears from my eyes. The moment when she's like hugging him and saying that like she's there for him. She's just there. Her support, her. So I was like, wow, yeah, really, you do need something like that to get you from the void.
So yeah, unfortunately, this movie kind of failed financially, which is, I mean, it's explainable, because a lot of characters in this movie, they're from also failed projects. People were not sure, like the characters didn't sell, unfortunately, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad story. It's actually a very good story. And I hope people, with maybe the digital release, people will kind of change their mind, and that will draw more people to this kind of movies, or at that point even maybe draw them back to, do you remember how good it was, watching all these stories? I hope
Totally.
people, or at least there are more even hopes for the Fantastic Four, and again, like, they're simple movies, but now in cinema, like, there's so much stuff that you cannot just make something purely entertaining. People will not care, really. It used to be this way with cartoons, right, and maybe comedies, but now, like, whatever you are, I think, creating as a cinematic project, there should be something that people have to think about. It's a little bit of tragedy in a comedy, a little bit of comedy in a tragedy, and a little bit of deep stuff and just entertaining things. Just like heroes and superheroes in comic books and in movies now, characters from other genres, they're like more gray than white or black. So
and that's relatable, so
that's life.
Cool.
Yeah,
watch this movie and tell us what you think, and let us know what you think about doing something more mainstream.
We'll do this sometimes, because we will. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's not that you have a choice or anything. So thank you. That was our 9th episode, which means that, we haven't talked about that much, but which means that the next one is going to be the final one for the season. Right.
Wow.
After the season, we'll take a break to prepare for something even more interesting for you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Leave a like, leave a comment, and see you on the other side.
Yep. Yes.
See you guys.
Okay. See you.